web servers always sit in the public subnet, and database servers always sit in the, as per the image I'm saying, as per the image, database servers are sitting in the private.
What about if we put web servers inside and we just put load balancers?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can. Okay. And the basic VPC abbreviations like standard industry terms and AWS terms, what we have seen in the regular practices is like industry standard terms, classless internet domain, and here we will be having CIDR. Here also we will be having CIDR. And NACL, network access control list. NAT, we have already it's a network address translation, what we see, like NATing and IP. And VPN, we will be having, as I said, it's a virtual private network, where we'll be using virtual private gateway for the communication. VPC is virtual private cloud. And elastic IPs, already we have done practice on that. Load balancers we have done. And elastic network interface and IGW, internet gateway. These are the terms we have, we'll be using in VPC. Okay. The VPC is a dedicated isolated virtual network. It's a virtual network. And a subnet IP range within the VPC. And routing table determines where traffic is directed. Security groups, instance level stateful firewall. Security group will be managed for the instance level, and the network ACL subnet level stateless firewall. VPN connection connects VPN to other networks like corporate office network or a customer network. It can be anything. NATing, enable internet connectivity, for instance, in private subnets. So if you want to do private subnet this thing, then you need to have NATing. Internet gateway enables internet connectivity for instances in public instances. Any questions here?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. As I said, you can create VPC within a single public subnet only, or you can also create public and private. And you can also create public and private subnets and hardware VPN access. And you can also create private subnets only and hardware VPN. So these are the options available in creating VPC, where we'll be seeing in the lab session. Hope you will understand there rather than getting into much theory on this. Okay. Creating subnets is like public and private subnets you can create, where we'll be using VPC wizard as an option, like it gives an option, or else manually creating all the step by step, like creating VPC, the subnets, again whatever the requirement, routing table, everything, IGW, internet gateway, everything we create manually. There are two options: either follow the VPC wizard or else create manually.
Okay.
Okay. And CIDR block is defined IP address range, where we'll be deciding our own IP range, like as we seen in the previous image, 10.0.0 or else 10.1. For example, so that we'll be using those, or else you can use any, you can also choose your own IP range to create VPC. And elastic network interface is like primary address and optional secondary IPs, and it also has MAC addresses, security groups. Okay.
So these MAC addresses, they would be virtual MAC addresses, or
virtual? Everything is virtual.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, previously we used to have EC2 Classic. Without VPC also we used to create EC2 instances. That will become an EC2 Classic standalone, which does not have any action or any security of default VPC. And in EC2 Classic instance will be having only one public IP. So public IP address where instance can be accessed in EC2 Classic. The default VPC is totally managed by subnets and IP range bound, so that it can have private and public or the multiple private addresses to the instances. And elastic IP in EC2 Classic, you can disassociate the elastic IP if you don't want to access the EC2, and it's already we have seen in the lab. And every account will be coming with a default VPC for each region, and that does not have EC2 Classic. And all non-default VPCs are VPCs created manually. Like apart from default, whatever we create our own, that becomes a non-default. Right now, while creating EC2, what we have seen, there is a default VPC where we are selecting to create EC2. And now we will be creating our own non-default VPC manually, so that we can create our own network.
So what is the recommended way to create VPC? Is it manually or through wizard?
Anything is fine, not a problem. For first practice, you can create, if you understand what is required, and if you know the range bound, what to be used and how to be used, you can create manually each and every component. It's not a big deal here.
Okay.
And route table is always configured. We have seen in instance level also, we have seen the routing tables for Linux boxes, where we will be managing which network inside network, how we will be managing the IP tables, like this particular IP should be able to access. In that same way, here also we have route table where we will be managing the traffic within the VPC. Okay, we have set of rules there where we can, for example, in the corporate, you will be having some range of IPs. For example, there are 4 intranets distributed, and only one intranet should have accessibility, not all the intranets. In the route table, we will be managing that particular thing, and we'll be giving that IP range bound, so that it will provide only access to that particular range bound, not to all the network intranetworks. For example, every department has their own individual this thing, like development have development servers, and the productions has production